following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
America has a problem.
Happy Wednesday. You are checking in with Jill Munroe. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe live on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope your 4th of July holiday was amazing because now we are back. And like the station says, like we tell you all the time, we have so much to talk about tonight. So before we get into all of that though, right, I just want to get you ready for the change that is going to come. Because there is a change happening. If you've been paying attention over the last couple of days, it's not just about the 14th Amendment being struck down at Harvard and, is it UNC Chapel? I think that's what it is. Yeah. So it's not just about Twitter's demise, which we will be talking about shortly. It is not just about the change in values that some feel were on display at Essence Fest this weekend in New Orleans, which we will be talking about. Overall, everything is changing. And while in some aspects it feels like we're headed back to like 1962, sometime before the Civil Rights Act passed and everything else, the reality is we are firmly planted in the future. And so we better pay attention to everything that's happening and take it seriously and make sure that we have drawn our lines, so to speak, because they are coming for you, they are coming for me. They is nebulous, but they are trying to take things away from us. So we got to be armed. We got to be ready. So that's my little message of the day. The theme is change is going to come. Now, let me get you ready for what we are getting into tonight on RSVP with Jill Munroe. So VIPs, a lot has happened. We've been away for a while. And as you know, the world of entertainment and sports is buzzing. So we're going to talk a little bit about Michael Jordan. You know, his son Marcus is currently dating his old teammate Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, and Jordan finally commented on it. We're going to talk about what he says and his reaction. So there's an uproar over something that I feel like everybody should like. I don't really understand the complete problem, but Tracee Ellis Ross took some heat this weekend for a picture she posted on Instagram. You know, Megan Thee Stallion and Janelle Monáe caught some strays from an R&B singer, and these topics are kind of related. We're going to get into that. Keke Palmer. Everybody loves Big Boss Keke Palmer, right? Well, she went to go see Usher recently, and there was an interesting reaction to her being at the show. So we're going to get into that a little bit. We're also going to talk about what is a gold digger? What makes one a gold digger? What is seeking out opportunity? There's an NBA star who recently got awarded a very, very, very large contract, and he had a message for so-called gold diggers. We're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about there's some new social media apps on the scene. They're trying to take over. They want to take Twitter's spot. We're going to talk about what Twitter did to drop its spot over the weekend as well, and who some of these contenders are. We're also going to get into Essence Fest. We're going to recap a little bit of the performances, and we're going to talk about an issue that has come up with the festival and local business owners, and we want to see whose side you're on. Of course, later on, we're going to have our good question of the night, and Tonight I have a guest, an award-winning journalist, and pop culture commentator, someone whose opinion you are going to come to love. We're going to meet her, Shar Jossell, in a little bit. And we're also going to talk about, let's see, what else is happening? We're going to talk about some Nepo babies that got turned away from a West Hollywood party over the weekend. You think that you can buy your way into anything? The answer is sometimes not really. So those are some of the things that we're going to get into later. But before we get into all of that, I want to introduce you to my guest for the night. I mentioned her name is Shar Jossell. That's Shar Says So on Instagram, Twitter, because you're going to want to hit that follow button. Shar is an award-winning journalist, media personality, and writer. Her areas of focus are the arts and entertainment. She writes about the intersection of gender, politics, race, and pop culture. She's been featured on BET, Essence News, BuzzFeed, TMZ Live, Fox Soul, and that Grape Juice. So many other places, and we are going to have a great time tonight with Shar. Welcome to RSVP with Jill Munroe, Shar Jossell.
Hi, Jill.
Hi. So first of all, I have to thank Shar on air. She bought me these beautiful flowers to congratulate me on the launch of my show. They smell amazing. It was so thoughtful.
Well, you know, I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
This is a big deal.
It is,
And
right?
thank you for having me, you know.
Of
good.
course. I wanted to reach out to all my people, all my fun people, all my people that I know that, you know, can add and we can build together and share that time. So really quick, make sure that you are locked in. You know, you can take KBLA with you, download the app, because why not? You can listen to past episodes of all the podcasts there. You can live stream it. And if you're shy, you can leave a voice note message there. Make sure that you are following us at all of our socials, because if you're not, what are you doing? KBLA 1580 everywhere. Make sure you're following me at Stiletto Jill. And you want to make sure you have the power line locked in, 800-920-1580, especially tonight, because I will have something to give away later on this hour, and it relates to one of the topics that we're going to be discussing tonight. So I have all that coming up for you and more. We're going to get into these topics with Shar when we come forward. You're checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
You're listening to K-Trip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like watering your lawn during the hottest time of the day and leaky faucets. They're tunes from another time, because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Trip.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe, and you are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe. And VIPs, we are coming in hot, because the Keke Palmer situation that is blowing up all your social media feeds right now, it needs to be addressed. Okay, so this is what happened. Keke Palmer went to Vegas, like many people have, to go check out Usher and see his performance. And, as he does with lots of, high-profile ladies, he spotlights them. And so with Keke, I think it was There Goes My Baby. Yeah, he serenaded her, and Keke was looking good. She is, in her post-pregnancy body, flourishing, looking amazing, out there giving the people what they want. And her dress was sheer. And so Usher was singing to her, no big deal. The same thing that he does night after night. And when the clip started to go viral, Keke Palmer's boyfriend, baby daddy, he mentioned husband and wife type of things. We're going to get into that. I'm not sure if that was just a phrasing or what, but he retweeted it and was like, it's the outfit though. You a mom. And it was very confusing. We thought, oh, they're joking, because they joke like that all the time. He's posted what could be considered risque photos of her on social media. So in this, where she's much more covered up than what we've seen before, what's the problem? Sure.
Listen, Jill, I had a feeling he wasn't joking. And the reason I say that is a few months ago, and it's happening now in real time if you're on Twitter, but a few months ago, some of his past tweets resurfaced. And I saw, with the glimpse of the tweet, sometimes you can see the content of someone's character. And I saw the type of man that I perceived him to be. And so when that came out, when that initial tweet dropped and everybody thought it was tongue-in-cheek and like this couple playing, I squinted a little bit because I had seen his prior tweets. And so I find this to be very, very interesting, because why not address this privately?
Right.
And then to go the route of traditionalism, I think is even more comical, given that, he is the man of the house, but he's not the primary breadwinner, and he has a child out of wedlock. So I always find that funny when people cherry pick, what traditionalism they adhere to. But he is someone, just to give context to those of you who might not be privy to it, tweets of his are now surfacing where he's like a police apologist, where he's condemning Alton Sterling. You remember the murder that happened in 2016? Yep. He is a right winger. We can, guess from some of these tweets and some of his likes. And so this type of behavior does not surprise me.
I mean, the thing that is also interesting is he doubled down on it. I guess he saw the commentary, he saw the reaction to it, and his response was, we live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mother to his kids to showcase booty cheeks to please others, and he gets told how much of a hater he is. This is my family and my representation. I have standards and morals to what I believe. I rest my case. I, like you, may be fair, it's a conversation, but isn't it a conversation that you could have with your wife, girlfriend, partner? At home.
It is, because once you open it to the internet, it now becomes all of our business.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And we want resolution. We want details. We want to know how the conversation started. Right.
We ride for Kiki. I just, I find, like I said, that conversation laced in like this traditionalism, I find that to be comical in this specific case. And then, some of the language that he chose, like showcasing her, what does the tweet say? It's something like she's showcasing her butt cheeks.
Her booty cheeks, yes.
Okay, like to me, and well, let me know if you disagree. To me, she's wearing a dress, and I didn't get that it was showcasing anything, but to frame it like that makes it seem like it was intentional and nefarious. And I don't think that was Kiki's intention, but to frame something like that, like you're wearing this for this very particular reason, I think is harmful.
I just, again, seeing as he's posted her like topless and some tights and in various other, what would be considered, uncomfortable situations, maybe even for her, I just wonder, is it insecurity on his part? Because, Usher is, I think, engaged or certainly has a significant other at home. I know it means nothing, but I'm just saying in theory, right? If your home is happy over here and this home over here appears to be happy, where's the concern coming from, sir?
Well, a famous Atlanta housewife once said, a hit dog will holler. So it might be a projection.
It could be.
We won't know, but we know what doesn't come out in the wash will certainly come out in the rinse. Something tells me that this is not the end of this. And something tells me that the critique around what Kiki is wearing is not the root of it. There's something additional behind that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's something, maybe the girls that she's out with, maybe the girls trip, maybe who he thinks might also be in Vegas at the same time. Or
something he's projecting, like trying to deflect from maybe some of his own skeletons.
That is true. We never know what could pop up and what could come around. Listen. But the interesting thing is it comes on a day and on the heels where there has been a lot of conversation surrounding women and their bodies and how they are choosing to express them. Not that this is a new conversation, but it is a conversation that is happening with women who are traditionally thought of as respectful. We're not talking about an Instagram vixen in these cases of the women that we're going to discuss. Well, at least not in one case.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, the reaction. So someone else that kind of received some comments this weekend based off of an Instagram post, perceptions, was Tracee Ellis Ross. Now, we know usually everybody loves Tracee Ellis Ross. We love her hair. We love her clothes. We love her zany personality. People love her. But Tracee decided while she was in Paris to pose a picture topless, just a random snap photo with her hand across her breast and these amazing slacks on. That was part of a whole ensemble look, but that's another conversation. And it upset a great deal of men for some reason. They were like, what are you doing? She's too old to be doing this. All of these things. And Tracee's reaction, she doesn't have a reaction yet, but in a recent interview, she stated that at 50, almost 51 years old now, she feels the sexiest, the most confident, the best she's ever felt in life. She was like, sure, some things may be thinning, stuff may not be as shiny as it once was, but I'm here. I feel very confident. I would never want to go back. And so I just wonder, what are your thoughts on how quickly the tides have turned? Janelle Monáe is another one that we've seen hit with that, especially. She's been opening up as far as her sexuality and what she displays for a number of years. So if you've been paying attention, it's not necessarily something that's new, but it's certainly, the showing of the boobs has certainly got people up in an uproar. And then to add to that, India Arie came out in opposition of what happened at Essence Fest, and we'll talk about Essence Fest a little bit later, but about the twerking from Megan Thee Stallion, and she didn't feel like Janelle Monáe should have been up there twerking. And we know India's always been that girl. I'm not the kind of girl that's in the videos. That's her thing. But what are your thoughts on this kind of tide turning on women that were traditionally sort of respected when you think about that type of area.
I mean, I see it happening across the nation, whether you're Tracy Ellis Ross or Tracy from down the block. I am always going to champion women having full autonomy over our own bodies, period, big dot, over our own images, our own bodies. That's just what it is. I do think that a lot of this goes hand in hand with respectability politics, but we've seen, if you recall a few weeks ago, like there was the I wish I could remember her name, but like the light-skinned girl from Houston who worked at Home Depot.
Oh, right.
The internet attacked her, and then a few days later, it was Sukianna with the whole YK Osiris, kiss that happened that was deemed assault. And so what I find in a lot of these conversations is it doesn't matter if you're dressed from head to toe with a quote-unquote respectable position at Home Depot, or if you're Sukianna rapping about switching positions. It's about autonomy, and you really can't win for losing. And it seems like people don't want women to claim themselves and their bodies and the richness of who we see ourselves to be unless it's directly benefiting them. So don't be sexual unless it's benefiting me. You don't have the my permission to stand in the truth of who you know yourself to be. And we see this goes back to Millie Jackson. This goes back to Little Kim, so this isn't anything new. But I think that a lot of the conversations in this nation right now that are steeped in Puritan culture, I'm using air quotes when I say this, are a direct reflection of some of this pushback. Because India.Arie had nothing to say about Jill Scott, and we know that Jill Scott has a very sexual set sometimes with her shows. So,
I mean, and that is also interesting, is Jill Scott's set was a little more vulgar.
Yeah.
If you looked at it in essence than we usually hear from her, a little more. And I'm not mad at it. It's just, noticing, some of the differences. Jill Scott was also calling out those other types, but in a different sort of way, not in the way that India.Arie was. And I just think it's interesting at a time when, say what you want, good, bad, or indifferent, but in a genre like hip hop, where we haven't traditionally seen a lot of women in that area, that we see a lot of them dominating. And yeah, there is a lot of sexuality to it, but how many years have we seen rappers talking about murder, murder, drug, drug, kill, kill, kill?
They still do
and nobody's burnt out with the content. So, I mean, I understand the push for wanting to see different
But they don't want to, Jill. They don't want
to.
They
say they do.
Because if it's a female conscious rapper, no one's filling up the Superdome to watch Rhapsody.
And I know she hates being used as that example, but, even not just her, if you think about some of the...
There's a handful. One could say, Chica, even though she just recently, stepped in it.
Chica's not the internet's friend right now, so
but Chica's lyrical content, from what I understand, is a bit more on the conscious side. And unfortunately, that's not what sells. And we know who Megan is. And Jill, I think that we would be dishonest to not note that the audience for Essence Fest is changing.
It is.
And so is the leadership and the booking. One could even bring up the BET Awards. Like, things are changing.
Hence the theme of my opening, that change is happening, whether you want it to or not, no matter how you feel about it. Things are evolving.
Yeah.
And you have to get on board or move around.
And they're going with what sells tickets, and there are some people, like Megan's a great performer. She gives you an 8 count. The mic is on. I love watching Megan perform. And so I think that India's critique was valid, but I think it was misguided. Because it could have covered it. She should have painted it with a broader stroke instead of zeroing in on 2 of her fellow women within the industry.
And when you just kind of leave it out there like that, it makes you also not be taken seriously, because you come off just as a hater. There's no nuance to it. There's no, kind of discussion about what's happening around it as well. And so, like you, I don't think that it's a fair critique. It's not that it's not true per se, and that's a different conversation for a different day, but...
And we should also mention that there's nothing wrong with being the average girl in the video.
Exactly. It takes all types.
It takes all types. Women are not monolithic in the ways in which we show up and claim agency. So if you want to have your head wrap on and do your thing, do that. And if you want to have your leotard on stage, your bedazzled leotard on stage and making it clap,
right,
you do that as well. There's an audience for everything.
There really is, and you can find it, and they will appreciate you and love you and lift you up and accept you for what you want to put out there. So before we end this topic, we have to mention who is taking strays in all of this. And that is Darius. That's Kiki's boyfriend, baby daddy, significant other's brother.
No, Sarunas.
Darius's brother is Sarunas.
Yes.
His older brother, Sarunas Jackson, who you know from Insecure.
Yes.
Dro.
Yes.
He was Dro on Insecure. You know, Molly's basketball playing, married, open marriage type guy situation thing. So Sarunas, because Darius is his little brother, he is taking strays on Twitter. And Sarunas is like, dang, well, Darius said what he said, and a commenter said, your brother is a H.
Okay.
You know.
Fill in the blank.
Mind you. And so Sarunas says, dang, we not the same man. I literally haven't been having sex, and I've been inside. Why am I catching stray bullets?
Yeah.
You know, it's that association thing.
It is.
But why do we always come with celibacy when we want to convince people that
Puritan culture,
we are
Jill.
innocent? Puritan culture.
Puritan culture.
Is an excellent point. I just thought that was really interesting that was what he used to say, listen, I've been standing down.
I think people are still trying to fill in the gaps because, you know, the baby that he has is with Tasha from Insecure, Chase Bay, who was chasing, you know, the bank girl that was chasing Lawrence. And people are still trying to fill in the gaps with that situation. And so people have their own theories about those brothers, those damn brothers.
Listen, well, I'll tell you what, though. Darius, you have put yourself square in the bullseye, and I really don't think that you want to be there. Like, really. No. I mean, we know that he has aspirations of being an actor, and Kiki has put him in some of her projects and things of that nature, but do you want to be in the bullseye as the hater boyfriend, the hater? I'm not calling you a bum, Darius. Twitter.
Well, you want a traditional family. So this is what also, and I know we got to go to break soon, but I also have been scratching my head at, like, politically, it appears as though he's extremely right-leaning. Like I mentioned, he criticized the entire Alton Sterling murder that happened. He seems to cape for police. And that seems like it's in direct opposition to the Keke Palmer that we know. Like, she's a part of the LGBT community. She's very progressive. So I'm wondering where these two line up.
Well,
where do they line up?
Well, if you listen to social media and some things that Keke has shared, where they line up at is, you know, everybody has an Achilles heel, a weakness, and Keke's happens to be, you know, light-skinned men with pretty hair.
But Keke has a smorgasbord. She's Keke Palmer.
She does.
She can have any man that she wants that fits that aesthetic.
She shot her shot at him, she said, at some event, I recall, and that's how they linked up. So I don't know. I mean, you know, Keke likes it. I love it. I just hope that they have a quiet conversation about the rest of this, because I know Keke's like, I got to deal with a baby. I'm out here being fine, getting my snapback back. I thought we had all of this taken care of at home. When we come forward, we're going to talk about Michael Jordan and his response to his son dating his ex-teammate Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. We're also going to discuss a white party that happened in the Hamptons this weekend and why we think Puffy should have some beef with the situation that went down. All that and more. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, RSVP with Jill Munroe.
I'm bad. I'm bad. You wanna get, you can't get no higher than this. No, 'cause love don't get no higher than this. No.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Changes are happening at the LA City Council. The council voted 10-0 to appoint Imelda Padillo as a temporary voting member. She's looking to replace former council member Nuri Martinez, who resigned last year after being caught making racist comments during a redistricting meeting. The FBI is now offering a huge reward for information on a missing black girl from Lansing, Michigan. An Amber Alert is still active for 2-year-old Winter Cole Smith, who went missing Monday after being kidnapped by her mother's ex-boyfriend following a fight. She has braided shoulder-length hair and was last seen wearing a white t-shirt with rainbows. The 4th of July was the hottest day ever recorded on Earth. The record comes just a day after a new record had been set. According to the U.S. National Centers for Environmental Prediction, the average global temperature was 61.92 degrees Fahrenheit. And that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network at BINnews.com.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the accident guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? The accident guys can come to you almost anywhere, so you don't have to come to us. Se habla español.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
Keep following the leader.
Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Are you looking to steer your career in a new direction? Driving for Culver City Bus can be your ticket to a long-lasting career with excellent benefits and paid training. Culver City Bus is looking for customer service and safety-minded bus operators to join the growing team. Culver City Bus offers on-the-job training starting at $19.10 per hour, uniform allowance, and health benefits. Culver City Bus is a great employer. Let Culver City Bus connect you with an essential service job. If you enjoy driving, seek real opportunities for career advancement, and passionate about making a difference in the community, then you are invited to join the Culver City Bus team. Start your journey today by submitting an application at culvercity.org/job. For more info, visit culvercitybus.com or call live customer service operators at 310-253-6500.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Race, culture wars, political turf battles, criminal justice and injustice, the courts. These are the conversations you won't hear elsewhere. My guests are leading journalists, celebrities, and sports figures, elected leaders, and influencers. They aren't afraid to get into it and say the quiet part out loud. With Ariva Martin in real time, your commute just became the most engaging part of your day. Tune in weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. or find us on YouTube. Ariva Martin in real time, when you want it straight, no chaser.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been
We have to let that ride for a little bit.
a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come.
That's right. We know it. You are listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe right here live on KBLA Talk 1580. I am joined with award-winning journalist, pop culture commentator, Ms. Shar Jossell, and we have been having a time and a conversation. If you want to join in, make sure you hit us up on the power lines, 800-920-1580. You can add us on all of our socials. Because I know you're on social media, so make sure that you're hitting us up, KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill. Or if you're on YouTube, hop in the chat. The chat is always lit. We are having conversations in there. Now, our next topic up, we have to talk about Michael Jordan. Some GOAT, some people's GOAT, a GOAT to many. Jordan is having parental problems. And I don't know if you can really have parental problems when your son is in his 30s. But let's say that he's not actually enjoying who his son Marcus is dating. Jordan was recently spotted at Madigan in Paris. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. On Sunday, and he was asked about his 32-year-old son Marcus's relationship with 48-year-old Larsa Pippen. Larsa is the ex-wife of Jordan's teammate, famously Scottie Pippen. So when MJ was asked how he felt about it, he laughed. And when pressed again, he's basically said no. He wasn't happy about it. And that is in direct opposition to what Larsa said a couple months ago when she was on the Tamron Hall show. Tamron asked her about the dynamic with Marcus's family, and she said she feels like it's going great. They had spent holidays together and so forth. So, Shar, what do you think? Because Jordan could have just said nothing. He could have ignored it. It's not like he's not been yelled at by the paparazzi before and kept that thing moving. He decided to make a response. I think that says a whole lot.
Yeah, I think, for one, let me start by saying Larsa will be 49 tomorrow. Tomorrow's her birthday. I just Googled her.
Happy birthday, Larsa.
July 6, 1974.
Okay.
But, I think people have been waiting to hear what Michael Jordan has to say about this. This is something that's always kind of bothered me. It makes me think of, I don't know if you've seen The Perfect Find, Gabrielle Union and Keith Powers' new movie on Netflix. And to me, it's just weird. Like, I kind of get weirded out. I've had, like,
You
friends...
don't like older women, younger guys?
Well,
that doesn't work for you?
It's not that.
Okay.
It's not that. It's something about, like, the relational aspect. So I've had, like, friends like brothers or cousins, you know, try to holler at me. And that's one thing. But it's different if it's a peer's child. It almost makes me think of, like, when Sherry Shepherd was jokingly, you know, throwing that thing at Etienne, Sheryl Lee Ralph's son, on her show. And she watched him grow up. That don't sit well with me.
I agree with you. Like, I will tell you that years ago, there was a man that lived next door to us. Like, he saw me grow up, right? And so years and years later, he, like, after, like, my father passed, he would still come by the house and talk to my mom. And I remember I asked my mom one time, I was like, why is he still coming around? She was like, I think to see you. And I'm sitting here looking at her like, and you're okay with, what are you talking about here?
Yeah.
So I get that aspect of it, because there is the concept that you knew this person when they were a child. Even if you just barely came in contact, you had social conversation with their mom. Like, how's little Marcus doing in swim camp, you know? So
that's the only thing. Like, I have no issue. Like, I'm not one of the big super, like, freak out about age gaps, particularly between consenting adults. But when it comes to, like, your parent is my peer and I watched you grow up, possibly,
Yeah, that is a little creepy. That gets into some other areas that, you know, doesn't make us feel all warm and squishy. But the thing that I'm wondering, right, is Marcus is 32 years old. So how much influence can we have, you know, really over their child? None. So we have a caller on the line. We have Liz from Sherman Oaks, California, calling in. Liz, what's good, VIP? What's your commentary on the subject?
Well, how you guys doing this evening?
Amazing.
Okay, my commentary is men date younger women all the time. So I don't see what the problem is, because you have guys that's 50 years old dating women that's 19. So what's the difference?
So I think, to Shar's point, is it the problem not the age difference, but the fact that she probably saw him when he was 6, you know, and you know, might have watched him take his first shot, even if she didn't know? Like, that's not kind of creepy. You would date, like, one of your dad's friends? No, right?
My dad's friends? I don't know.
Maybe. Little sugar daddy. Come here, baby. I got some sugar for you.
Because honestly, now this is a true story, and I ain't trying to put my business out there, but one of my mother's friend's husband actually tried to holler at me, and I just couldn't believe it. Like, what? But that's not my thing. He's older. You know, like, my grandfather, like, are you crazy? But honestly, I did be sugar daddy. My sister said I should have walked him right to the bank. But I wasn't thinking like that.
Well, let me ask
you. Honestly,
let me ask you this.
A lot of men date a lot. Yes.
So my question to you is, instead of, like, one of your parents' friends, would you date or actively pursue one of your peers' kids who's now a consenting adult? Was that something you would do?
No.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That makes it weird.
But I also think about it. Michael Jordan's wife actually kind of favored Larsa in a way, in a sense.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
The younger one? Wait, not
Juanita.
Not Juanita. You mean
Not
Yvette?
Juanita, but
you talking about Yvette, right?
I went after Juanita.
Okay.
Yes. So maybe he having a flashback of himself, like his son, mine ain't right. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, maybe. I don't know.
No. Maybe no. It's just something about those things. You know, I'm not gonna judge. I feel like men do it all the time.
Amazing. Well, I agree with you there. They do it. So, I mean, I would be all for it if there wasn't that connection a little bit.
Yeah.
Plus, I think she's, you know, a little clout chasey, but
I'm surprised it's lasted this long.
But I think he's a little clout chasey too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think that they both don't have genuine motives in the situation, so that's why it works. Because they're both like, oh, we going to kill him with this one, but we'll see. Liz, thank you for calling up. I appreciate you for listening.
Thank you. You guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jill, are you a zodiac girl? Like, you believe in the stars?
I do.
So here's my thing. I just looked up his birthday. He's a Capricorn like me.
Okay.
And they say Capricorns and Cancers go together like peanut butter and jelly. They're the polar opposites on the zodiac chart. And there's so many, quote-unquote, successful Capricorn-Cancer relationships. So I just thought about that because she's a Cancer, he's a Cap. He's December 24th, Christmas Eve, baby.
Well, you know what? In that regard, it probably makes sense because if they're each other's opposites, there are things and needs that they can fill each other up with. You know, I'm not just talking about the obvious ones. There's a lot of things. When we come forward, we're going to continue on this topic. Plus, we're going to get into some other gold digging things, and we're going to talk about the new social media apps that are trying to take over for Twitter. You are listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
To my hometown, my community. Some of you have known me my whole life. Do you notice anything different about the kids in the neighborhood? Ever paid attention? You might start with gifts, money, attention. These are signs. Child trafficking is happening right here in this town. So don't just watch through the window. Pay attention. Because the more we know, the more we'll all know to say no. Learn the signs to look for and how to help at no-to-say-no.com.
You're listening to K-Trip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Sprinklers in the Rain and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Trip.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You are listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe. We are here with Shar Jossell, who we have been talking about Michael Jordan's response to his son Marcus dating Larsa Pippen. You know, there's a little age gap. There's the fact that Larsa probably saw him running, although she did claim that she didn't cross paths with him when he
do
was
you
a
believe
child.
that?
I do not. I absolutely don't believe that.
Me
But
either.
sounds good. And I mean, there's enough space and time that you could say that. And who's really going to remember? Because I saw you in the family room give him an animal cracker in 1993. You know, nobody's going
I
to.
want to know what Juanita feels about it.
Oh, we know Juanita is probably not having it. Do you know? But Juanita collected her coins. I think that up at that time, until that point, it was like the largest divorce award judgment in like history or something like that. Excuse me. So I know she has something to say, but you know, she's not going to say it publicly because she knows that's not the thing to do. Now, we're going to switch topics for a minute, switch gears, still in some very wealthy business, but we're going to travel to the Hamptons. We're going to leave Paris and go to the Hamptons. So over the 4th of July weekend, a guy named Michael Rubin, he is the owner, CEO of Fanatics, which is a sporting goods company. They sell like baseball cards and all types of fan memorabilia and things like that. So he has a birthday party / 4th of July party. He's had it for the last couple of years. And it's an all white party. And basically it is where you want to be. The guest list includes everybody. Jay and Beyonce were there, Kelly Rowland, Tom Brady, DJ Khaled, Ella Mai, Jason Tatum, Kim Kardashian, Kendall, Meek Mill, Taylor Rooks, Usher and Neo performed, Jack Harlow performed, Kyle Kuzma, Winnie Harlow. The list goes on and on and on. If you are following me on Twitter, at Stiletto Jill, I retweeted his recap video of the event. A lot of money put into this video. A lot of money.
Yeah.
But the real question that we want to discuss is, did Puffy let this man come in and steal his shine? We all know in 1998, Puffy started the White Party at the Hamptons, bringing these eclectic crowds together with hip-hop. I think at the first one, Paris Hilton was there. Leonardo DiCaprio came through. And we know Puffy went on to do it, and I think he did one in Saint-Tropez. We know he did one in Beverly Hills. I think he hasn't had one maybe since 2017, 2018, possibly the last one. But he just kind of abandoned it. So is this appropriation? Is Puffy letting somebody steal his ditty? You know, especially now when he says he's going door to door selling his vodka and tequila because of that deal falling apart. Do you think parties like this are still interesting when you see someone who obviously probably in ordinary circumstances wouldn't be connected to the culture, but this party very much was a party for the culture. Not that there weren't, you know, a lot of white people there as well and other races, but it was, you know, heavily in a lot of ways very much a sports and hip hop event. Given I know that he works in sports, but what are your thoughts on that?
Maybe Sean passed the torch. You know, nothing that black billionaires do surprises me anymore, you know, especially after Rihanna stepped down from the Fenty and passed that position to a white woman. That
isn't interesting. I understand her stepping down because she's about to have her second child and the demand for that. But that, however, that is an excellent point.
So nothing that they do surprises me. I just, you know, when I was prepping for this story, I was thinking about just a few months ago how you and I were in our all white for the Black Excellence Brunch for Women's History Month. And this is somewhere I would like to be. Listen, I'd get my white and I'd go, Odell's there. I watched a TikTok. It's on Fashion Bomb Daily on Twitter.
About the watches?
Yes. I was fascinated at how.
Let me tell you, because I wrote it down. I wrote it down.
Oh my gosh.
So the watches listen, we know rappers still wear their big gold, big platinum jewelry, diamonds studded out. But the real flex right now for wealth, I'm assuming, is the timepiece, the watch. I don't know how many of those people actually look at the watch to tell time. Most people look at their iPhone or their, cell phone at this point. But so Jay-Z topped the list. Like, his level is above everyone. He had on a vintage Patek valued at over $7 million. Khaled had an Audemars Piguet that was about $500,000. James Harden had a Richard Mille for $190,000. I think Odell had a watch switch up.
Yeah,
he had
switched.
one watch on in the daytime and put something else on at night. I think it ended up being about over $300,000 worth of watch wear. Is that even a term?
I don't know, but here's the thing, Jill. I'm loving the subtlety.
Right.
Like, I'd much rather the timepiece than all the layered chains. But also...
Is this the thing about when they always talk about the Gucci belt versus the guy wearing?
Yes. But also, you know what I found so interesting while watching this TikTok is a watch isn't something I'd necessarily pay attention to. Unless it was that striking.
Oh, I would.
Really?
Yes.
I don't think... It would have to be... It would literally have to be because, like, Tom Brady's, for example, they had his watch. It looked so regular to me, but of course it was worth tens of thousands of dollars. Some of those watches were beautiful. They were blinged out. Even the subtle ones were beautiful. But the one that, like, I remember Tom Brady's, I remember thinking that looks so regular, but it's one of the hottest items on the market right now. But I do love the subtle nature of it all versus the flashiness that we once were at with the culture.
I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, I can't play in that market, right? You know.
But you like to be in the room.
But I'd like to be in the room, you know. Give me a plain Jane Rolex bust down, you know. Timepiece, I think they start at like $6,000. I would be okay with that for a starter's one, right? But I do think that also, I have a friend who collects timepieces or whatever. Like, that's something that he kind of started investing in. He just, you know, kind of a simple guy, regular guy, wouldn't know that he has a lot of things, but that's his sort of thing. And so the thing with that I find so interesting is that, you know, it's going to be like women's Birkin collections shortly.
Or shoes. Giuseppe Zanotti. Like, it's,
right.
It's like, but, you know, yeah, I loved it. And like you mentioned, his highlight video or his event video, I was like, I gotta someday, sometime, some way have to make it into that room.
I mean, listen.
I have to get an invite.
Next summer. I don't know.
I have to get an invite. It looks so fun.
It looks amazing. And I've never been to the Hamptons. So
me either, girl.
I would love to check it out and make my way down to the Inkwell as well.
I'll be in a corner and mind my business. I won't be harassing people for selfies.
Right.
I'll roll with Gayle King. She seems like my type of girl at a party like that.
I mean, but here's the thing. Did we have to really worry about anybody being harassed? There was a photographer there on deck. Like I said, there was a sizzle reel. They turned it around in 2.5 seconds.
I don't ask people for pictures anyway, but there would be like, you know, there's certain people I get starstruck over.
Right.
You know, Beyonce's there. You know?
Listen. I'm going to stand right here, right? Shoot it that way. Just get her in the background. One of those.
Yeah, I've seen people do those, like with paparazzi, like
Here's
just
my
kind of
thing.
slide in. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't do that just because I don't want to be the one that they be
Nope.
like, get out of the, or like embarrass you.
Or she doesn't get an invite next year. Just play it cool.
Mm-mm.
And I'm single, so I'd be there on a different mission.
that part, because it looked like, you know, there might have been, you know, some dates there to take in or something. So, yeah, listen, very wealthy things. And we're going to move on from those wealthy things to some other wealthy things. We're going to talk about Anthony Edwards really quickly before we come forward. And then we'll get into Essence Fest and Twitter competitors within the next hour. But really quickly, Anthony Edwards, he just signed a 5-year, $260 million extension with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And he put out a video with his girlfriend, right, in the video, saying that all the gold diggers, you need to fall back. Nobody gets anything. The only one that gets something. And he panned to his girlfriend, and she gave her duck lips like, yeah, me. And then he panned to his puppy. And with the puppy, he says she's the only one that's coming up. She's new to the table, so he said he's a little green for her. Everybody else gets the same color as his jacket, and he had on a red t-shirt. this is my thing. Why are you antagonizing these women like that? Why are you doing that? Like, just take your $260 million and go. Because I bet you that you aren't going after the same type of women that you were, prior to that. And we'll get into all of that when we come forward with Shar. We also have Trent the Artist coming in. All that and more. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Changes are happening at the LA